Good morning. Welcome to Hart County High School. I am Rob Brown, principal, and it is my honor to have you this morning in our Veterans Day Assembly for 2011. My first, many of your more than first. So, with that said, I'd like to welcome a few guests that we have in our audience today. If you will stand and be recognized when I call for you. Our Superintendent, Mr. Jerry Bell. Thank you. Mr. Paul Abernathy, our school board chairman. And I'm not sure if we have any other school board members present. I am blinded by the lights and I cannot see to recognize you. So. Okay. I'm sure you're blinded with the reflection coming off of my head as well. I'd also like to recognize Ms. Nancy Clark, former superintendent and Daughters of the American Revolution representative. And Mr. Charles Howard, our American Legion Post 109 representative. I'd also like to recognize and ask all the veterans of Hart County to please stand and be recognized. And students of Hart County High School, this program should serve as an opportunity for you to learn a little more about service and the service that these men and women have provided for their country. I hope that it is an informational and rewarding program for you. I'd also like to give special thanks this morning to Mr. Jones and our CTAE department members that have contributed to the program. I appreciate your work, Mr. Talbert. Ms. McCall, who have prepared musical and choral entertainment for you today. Coach Gaines and his technology students that have prepared a video for this program today. I'd like to thank Coach Devane for being our guest speaker. And last but not least, certainly I'd like to thank our junior ROTC program, Colonel Myers, Sergeant Fagan, for all the work that they have done in coordinating every aspect of this program. Thank you very much. As a point of privilege, I'd like to take just a minute and talk to you a little bit about something we did here at Hart County High School some weeks ago. The Burke Show, many of you heard about through Atlanta. Many students in this audience today wrote letters, handwritten letters to troops to show their appreciation for the service that these men and women are providing for our country. I was able to read some of the letters before they went out. And I was extremely proud of the comments and the sincerity in which these letters were written. It was a true testament to our students and how they appreciate the service that is being provided for them in the Middle East right now. But I kept wondering, who is that service man or woman on the receiving end of that letter, and do they really know how much they're appreciated? A couple of weeks ago, on October 13th, U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Scott Harper died in combat while serving in Afghanistan. Corporal Harper was a 2008 graduate of Alexander High School, of which I was the principal, and I remember shaking his hand at graduation. I also knew that Scott, or Boots as we called him, would be leaving our halls to go serve our country. What I didn't know was that his tour of duty would not get him home alive. And like those on the receiving end of our student letters, I only hope that Boots knew how much we appreciated his service. As we honor the service of so many brave men and women today, some of which have paid the ultimate sacrifice like Scott Harper, and some continue to serve today like my nephew, Blake Riley. It's most important that we remember, and in the words of journalist George Orwell, we sleep safely at night because rough men stand ready to visit violence on those who would harm us. Now it is my distinct pleasure to ask Cadet Lieutenant Kristen Elliott, the leader of our Bulldog Battalion, which has planned every aspect of today's ceremony, to come and remind us of the true purpose of Veterans Day. Cadet Elliott.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, students, staff and faculty of Hart County High School, and all of our honored guests. I am Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Kristen Elliott, Commander of the Junior ROTC Bulldog Battalion. Most of you know the history behind Veterans Day. In 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the guns fell silent in Europe and church bells rang around the world as the armistice ending World War I, the war to end all wars, was signed. Armistice Day officially became a holiday in the United States in 1926 and was designated a national holiday 12 years later. On June 1st, 1954, the name was changed to Veterans Day to honor all United States veterans. Some of our guests today actually made history themselves. Veterans of World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, and many other conflicts are with us as honored guests. Your presence and your sacrifices are a silent tribute to all who have served. You remind us that though we wish the armistice of 1918 had ended war for all time, the sad truth is that our freedom and liberty require constant vigilance. Right now, young Americans, some from Hart County, stand watch around the world so that these freedoms may endure. Will you all please join me in a round of applause for the veterans in attendance today? For the presentation of colors, pledge to our flag, and the national anthem.
Forward, off. Off down, off. Colors, off. Left, right. Reset, colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Alan Tolbert, leader of the Hart County High School Symphonic Band.
The next selection is entitled Armed Forces Salute. We would like to invite all veterans to please rise when the band plays the musical selection which represents your branch of service.
Please welcome the Hart County High School Chorus under the direction of Ms. Brown McCall to today's program. They will present a medley of patriotic songs in honor of our veterans.
Hi, I'm Melissa McCall, and I'm the choral director of the Hart County High School Chorus. You're about to hear a song entitled "Lead Me Home," which was written by William Barnum. This song will be sung by the Advanced Choral Ensemble, and we thought this song was appropriate for this program because the words make us think of thoughts that our past and present veterans may have had or are having while they are serving our country, especially overseas. And some of the words are, lead me home, I am weary, lead me home. Work is done, the day is over, I am weary, lead me home. We can't say thank you enough for what you have done or are doing on behalf of our freedoms for this great country. We dedicate this song to the veterans who have returned home in the physical and the ones who have gone home to another life.
Ms. Brown McCall and members of the chorus, thanks to you all for that great performance. It was wonderful. And now, please direct your attention to the screen being lowered on stage. A video produced by Coach James's technology class will now be shown.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island. The purpose of these bases can be none other than to provide a nuclear strike capability against the Western Hemisphere.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.
Nearly 3,000 citizens taken from us, leaving a gaping hole in our hearts. On September 11th, 2001, in our time of grief, the American people came together. We offered our neighbors a hand, and we offered the wounded our blood. We reaffirmed our ties to each other and our love of community and country. On that day, no matter where we came from, what God we prayed to, or what race or ethnicity we were united as one American. Our firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
An army is a team. It lives, eats, sleeps, fights as a team. That's why Americans have never lost and will never lose a war.
Good morning. I'm Cadet Luke Bennett, the Command Sergeant Major of the Bulldog Battalion. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Charles Howard, Commander of Post 109 of the American Legion. He will introduce today's guest speaker.
We thank you for your assistance for our old folks coming up and down the steps. We were without you last year, and we really appreciate you this year because the years are piling up. I'd like to, first of all, say thank you for the folks here at Hart County High School for allowing us to participate in your Veterans Day service. I'd like to thank School Superintendent Bell, Principal Brown, and faculty and staff of Hart County High School. As you all know, the American Legion has many programs, and I just want to ask for the help of this administration. Some of the things that we do are the oratorical contest. Some of the things that we do are boys state and girls state, and I would not be doing the American Legion much justice if I didn't ask for help to complete these projects within this community. I'm here today to introduce our guest speaker for today. He was born in Jacksonville, North Carolina in 1962, the youngest of 5 children. He is known as a military brat in the veterans group of camaraderie folks. His father was a U.S. Marine Corps, reached the rank of gunnery sergeant. He toured Vietnam 2 tours, and he was also a Korean War veteran. This individual is a graduate of Jacksonville High School in 1980, which is in Jacksonville, North Carolina. He attended Clemson University on a full football scholarship, played on the 1981 National Championship Clemson Tiger football team. Go Tigers! He is a graduate from Clemson University in 1985 with a degree in elementary education. Received his master's degree in administration and supervision in 1997 from Clemson University. In 1984, he was picked on the 12th round for the NFL draft. And incidentally, William, we thank you for choosing education over the NFL. He began teaching and coaching in 1985. He taught special education at the Oconee Vocational Center, coached football and track at Walhalla High School in South Carolina. In 1987, he accepted a math and teaching assignment and coaching position at Hart County High School. In 1989, he became the head football coach at Hart County. He left Hart County in 2001 and went to Greene County in Georgia, and was the coach for Clark Central High School from 2002 to 2005. He returned to Hart County in 2006. He was named the assistant principal for Hart County High School. William Devane Jr., we are glad to have you back at Hart County. I want to introduce to you at this time Coach William Devane.
First of all, I'd like to give honor to God for allowing me to be here today. I want to thank everyone that's had something that were involved in putting on this program. Lots of times when you get up and speak, you forget and leave somebody out, so forgive me if I do. I definitely want to thank everyone that's involved on this program. I want to give special thanks. I think I may reiterate some of the words that Dr. Brown have already mentioned, but I definitely want to give special thanks and welcome to a few people. Colonel Myers, I definitely want to thank you for asking me to speak at such a wonderful occasion. I definitely do my best to try to do this justice. I want to thank all the JROTC members here at Hart County High School. You do a wonderful job. Dr. Bell, thank Hart County Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Stan Davis, and the entire staff at the Hart County Board of Education. I definitely want to thank you and welcome you. Dr. Brown, I want to thank you. Appreciate you, the principal of Hart County High School, his administrative staff, Dr. Miller, and Mr. Jones. Definitely want to thank you for all you do for Hart County and this community. Also to the members of the Board of Education that are present, that are not present, I want to thank you for what you do for Hart County also. To the faculty, staff, and student body, thank you for being here, and I want to welcome you here today also. Special thanks to Greg Gaines, Jason Hart, Seth Howard, and Emily Byron for helping put the PowerPoint I'm about to present to you, and Seth with the lighting, and Jason with the microphone. He told me he's just going to mic me up and all I have to do is talk. So I think you can figure all that stuff out. That stuff way over my head. I want to thank Mr. Talbot and the band, wonderful selection, and Mrs. Brown McCall and the chorus. You young men and women did an excellent job. Appreciate you. Special thanks to my lovely wife, Tish, who's unable to be here today, and our girls. Really appreciate my family. My 4 sisters, as you mentioned in the introduction, I'm the youngest of 5. I have 4 older sisters, didn't have a brother. So growing up around a lot of women, that was kind of challenging. So thank them. I definitely want to give a special thanks to my sister Tony. All the pictures that you were about to see, she's somewhat our family historian, so she gave me all that information. Definitely want to thank her. Special thanks and a special welcome to all the veterans here today and all our visitors from the community. Definitely want to welcome you and thanks for coming. Speaking of pictures, there's an old saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So we're about to take a kind of pictorial view of my dad's life. And again, I hope you enjoyed this journey. You may learn something about me that you don't know. We may laugh a little bit, and we may share a poignant moment or two. So let's kind of go on what we talked about. All right, this as you can see, my dad was born April 27th, 1927 in Ivanhoe, North Carolina. Now, Ivanhoe is a small community. Believe it or not, Ivanhoe is a little bit smaller than Hart. Actually, Ivanhoe is about the size of Newburgh. I guess all of y'all know where Newburgh is. My dad was the oldest of 5 boys. Okay? A very small community. On June 18, 1952, he went through basic training. There he is, way up at the top with the arrows pointing. He went through basic training in Paris Island, South Carolina. Soon after, and some of the veterans can probably help me out here, soon after he went through basic training, he was sent to Korea for active duty. And I guess that was a practice back in the day. You go through basic training, and then you off to fight the war. So he fought in the Korean War and came back. Next picture, this is a picture of my dad. Go to the next slide, there it is. That's my dad, up there on the left. And three of the 5 brothers that were in this family were in the military. This is my Uncle Demetrius up top, and then that's my Uncle Carol. So we have, out of the 5 boys, 3 of them served in the armed forces. These are some of the pictures of my dad overseas. Man, I like this picture, man. He's packing right there. He was a bad dude, man, I tell you. All right? But those are some of the pictures of my dad overseas. Like I said, he had 2 tours of duty. A tour in Korea, and he spent the tour in Vietnam. Some of the accommodations he received the Purple Heart, United Nations Service Medal, National Defense Service Medal, and the Korean Presidential Unit Award. Okay? Now I hear some people already laughing already. All right, this is a picture, believe it or not, that's my family. That's my mom, and that little cute chubby little thing, that's me right there. This picture was taken, I was born in 1962, in May 1962. This picture was taken right before we were leaving. My dad was stationed got stationed in Honolulu, Hawaii. So we had to travel from Jacksonville, North Carolina, across country, all 7 of us in that car. Okay? So let me tell you, go back now, I gotta tell you a quick story on this one. My dad told me that, and this is a true story, he told me that he was driving, and I think he mentioned that he had to stop in, I think either Mississippi or Alabama. Now remember, this is 1962. He just wanted to go to a restaurant to feed his family. What he had to do, he had to go to the back through the kitchen. He just came back from Korea. He had just served his country. He had to go through the back to the kitchen and ask the owner just to give him enough food to feed his family. He could not take us in that restaurant because we were black. He could not take us through the front door. So he did what he had to do to take care of his family. And I think that was very remarkable of him. Okay? All right, next slide this is kind of a little happy time. Hey, y'all just gonna laugh at my baby kids all the time. Lord have mercy. All right. Yeah, that's my older sister Karen holding me. Yeah, I got a pacifier in my mouth. All right. Next slide would be another picture. I'm about to cut this out here. All right, this is my dad. This is in Honolulu, Hawaii. I was a little bitty fella. I don't remember much about Honolulu. I was 3 years old when we left to come back to the States. But that's my dad, and those are all my sisters, and that little fella is me. Okay? And then here's a nice picture. Yeah, I got that nice cold smile. This is a picture of me and my dad, of course, in Honolulu, Hawaii. I was a very proud son. Now, this picture, of course you can tell we're at the beach. That's me and my mom at the beach. Now that look on my face tells me I was not a happy camper that day. I guess, I don't know. But that's just a wonderful picture of the beach at Honolulu, Hawaii. And then here's a much happier time for me and my mom, again at the beach. I just love the beach. Growing up in Jacksonville, North Carolina, that's on the coast. And then of course Honolulu, Hawaii, that's on the beach too. So I just love that. Then in 1965, we returned to Jacksonville, North Carolina. And we got lucky because a lot of times in the military, people can tell you, a lot of times you move around quite a bit. We were stationed, my dad was stationed in Camp Lejeune in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Then he got stationed in Honolulu for 3 years. And then he got stationed right back at Camp Lejeune in Jacksonville, North Carolina. That's my dad in the middle. He decided to take on a career of training cooks. My dad was an excellent cook. He used to cook a lot at home, and my mom, they were very, very excellent, great cooks. Of course, they showed me how to cook, and I probably can tell I can still Looking pretty good today. Okay. Then in 1972, this is a picture of my dad during his retirement. He served 20 years in the Marine Corps. He retired as a gunnery sergeant. After retiring, he decided to go into housekeeping in a hospital there in Jacksonville, North Carolina. This is a certificate of appreciation. That signature, Commander-in-Chief, is our President, Richard Nixon. That's just a signature of him, a certificate of appreciation for my dad. Right? This is my dad in his dress blue. For me, that signifies a lot of honor, a lot of dignity. I always loved that picture because he looked so dignified. I always dreamt of wearing those dress blues. I didn't want to be in the Marine Corps though, because it was pretty difficult. But he looked just so respectful in that picture, wearing his dress blues. And the next picture, that's a picture of my mom and my dad. A lot of people say I look like my mom. That's another picture that I'm just so proud of, that my dad is wearing his dress blue. Then a quick story. In 2001, I accepted the head coaching position at Greene County High School in Greensboro, Georgia. That was kind of toward the end of the road for my dad. My sister decided to move him to a nursing home in Atlanta. And to kind of show you how God works, if I didn't accept that position at Greene County at that time, I probably wouldn't have been able to spend the time I did with my dad. I spent every Saturday for about 4 months until the time he died. And he told me a lot about the military. He told me that in times of war, no one's really winning because there's casualties on both sides. So every time I see a serviceman or servicewoman that makes it home, that is great. That is great. One other thing I want to share with you before I close. Now, I hadn't seen this, I hadn't looked at this since 2001. This is the American flag. This is the American flag that was draped on my dad's coffin. He received a full military funeral. And you talk about something impressive to see young men fold this flag in honor of my dad. So can you cut on the house lights for a minute? So in closing, I would like all the veterans to please stand, if you're able to stand. On behalf of myself, my family, my dad, I honor you this week, today. I appreciate your service to this country. I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate what you have done. And I salute you. Thank God for you, and God bless you.
thank you, sir, for your remarks and your family service to this country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the Superintendent of Schools for Hart County, Mr. Jerry Bell, who will read the names of Hart County honored dead.
Spanish-American War, George Reisner. Mexican Punitive Expedition, DeWitt Rucker. World War I, John W. Adams, Owen J. Alford, Erskine Allen, George W. Cason, Preston B. Carter, Samuel J. Chapelier, William J. Connolly, Charles P. Dodd, James B. Estes, Henry Gaines, Anderson Harris, John R. Heaton, Oscar B. McCurley, Lawrence Nix, George W. Patterson, Claude Stevenson, Gilbert Thompson, Yancey J. Wilson. World War II, Clifford A. Alewine, Paris D. Bray, Willie Lee Cape, Gordon B. Chastain, Clifford D. Drake, Jack C. Fleming, Lucius Franklin, Benny Lindsay Gaines, Lloyd R. Gaines, Brian M. Grigsby, Francis E. Haley, John Parks Harper, W. A. Hayes, Joel L. Herndon, J. T. House, Robert Johnson, Walker H. K., Fred M. Martin, Rankin Q. McGee, Clarence A. Murray, John G. Nelms, Joe Franklin Obar, Winston Obar, James W. Purcell, Clarence W. Rice, Jr., Robert B. Richardson, Charles S. Roberts, Jr., John E. Rucker, Frank Lee Sanders, Enoch A. Scales, Knox L. Scales, Frank Lee Seymour, Ralph Sherrard, Travis G. Smith, Holden D. Stovall, Thomas G. Welber, William Marion Wilcox, Jack C. Wilson, Korean War, Fletcher Gaines, Clarence Heaton Jr., McDoyle McLean, Carl Wesley Rowland, Amos Cleveland Pete Temple, Vietnam War, Louis John Cleaver, Ralph Deward Cordell, Thaddeus Durrett, Bobby James, Galen Minor Smith, Sammy Howard Whitworth.
We are joined now by Ms. Nancy Clark, Regent of the Benson Chapter, National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution, for a special representation. Following that, please remain standing for the playing of taps by the band.